What if the chaos you see in today's world was written thousands of years ago? What if wars, technological revolutions, and even economic collapses are part of an ancient script we're all unconsciously following? It's not a tomb. It was never a tomb. The alignment is wrong. The bones are wrong. Oh God, the calculations were right. They were waiting for us. What if everything you know about history is a lie? What if the clues were left in plain sight, not by our ancestors, but by someone or something else? We are about to count down the 5 most shocking, inexplicable, and terrifying mysteries from the ancient world. Mysteries that defy science, rewrite history, and suggest we're not the first, and we may not be alone. And the number 1 mystery, it doesn't just question our past. It predicts a terrifying future. Stay until the end. You need to hear this. Mystery number 5, the Screaming Mummy. In 1881, archaeologists discovered a royal cache of mummies in Deir el-Bahri, Egypt. But one was different, sealed in a tomb fit for a king, but buried without a name, without honor, and with a face frozen in an eternal, silent scream. He wasn't mummified in the traditional way. His body was preserved using a quick, crude method, covered in salted sheepskin, a substance considered ritually unclean to the Egyptians. His hands and feet were bound with leather straps, so tight they cut into the flesh. He was buried in a coffin that did not belong to him. Who was he? A prince? A traitor? Forensic analysis suggests he may have been poisoned, buried alive, or ritually executed. But for what crime? The leading theory points to Prince Penaware, a man who conspired to murder his own father, Pharaoh Ramesses III. His punishment? To be mummified alive, his body cursed to scream for eternity. But here's the twist that chills me to the bone. What if the scream wasn't from pain, but from witnessing something? Ancient Egyptian texts speak of the second death, a spiritual annihilation so terrible it could contort the very soul. What if this mummy isn't a criminal, but a warning? A warning of something so forbidden, so dangerous, that his very name was scraped from history? And this practice of erasing a soul from existence, it connects directly to our number 4 mystery, which is even more brutal. Mystery number 4, the Sacsayhuam Fortress. High in the Andes Mountains lies a wall that should not exist. Built by the Incas, they claim. But look closer. Look at the stones. Some weigh over 100 tons. They're cut with angles that are not 90 degrees. They fit together so perfectly, you cannot slip a piece of paper between them. Not even a razor blade. The official story is that thousands of workers hammered these behemoths into shape with stone tools. But modern engineers and stonemasons are baffled. This isn't just quarrying and stacking. This is a 3D jigsaw puzzle carved from andesite, a rock harder than granite, with a precision that rivals our laser-guided machinery. The cutting faces are not flat. They're subtly curved and recessed, creating a seismic flexibility that has allowed these walls to survive earthquakes that leveled the Spanish cathedrals built on top of them. The Incas themselves told the Spanish that these megaliths were put in place by the gods or by a lost technology. What was this lost technology? Experiments show that certain plants in the region, when combined, can create a chemical paste that softens stone. Could the builders have literally molded these rocks like clay? And if so, why did this knowledge vanish? Was it a technology deemed too powerful for mankind? This melted stone technique is mentioned in legends across the world, from the construction of Baalbek in Lebanon to the foundations of ancient temples in India. A single, unified, and forgotten science from a time before history. Mystery number 3, the Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, sponge divers found a shipwreck off the coast of Greece. Among the statues and pottery was a lump of corroded bronze and wood. For decades, it sat in a museum basement. Then we x-rayed it, and what we found shattered our understanding of ancient technology. Dated to over 2,000 years ago, the Antikythera mechanism is the world's first analog computer. It contains at least 30 intricate bronze gears, housed in a wooden case with dials and inscriptions. It was operated by a hand crank. This device didn't just tell the time. It predicted planetary positions, calculated the phases of the moon, forecasted eclipses, and even accounted for the irregular orbit of the moon. Its complexity would not be matched for another 1,500 years. So who built it? The greatest minds of the time, Archimedes, Hipparchus, are candidates. But the knowledge required to miniaturize such complex astronomical cycles into a portable device. It implies a lineage of engineering and mathematics that is completely missing from the historical record. It's a technological island in a sea of ignorance. It used a differential gear, a mechanism previously thought to be invented in the 16th century. This is like finding a smartphone in Leonardo da Vinci's workshop. It forces us to ask, how much was lost when the Library of Alexandria burned? How close did the ancient world come to an industrial revolution? And why did it fail? Mystery number 2, the Nazca Lines. From the ground, it's meaningless. Scratches in the Peruvian desert. But from the air, it becomes a gallery of giants. Creatures, geometric shapes, and lines that run dead straight for miles. Created by the Nazca people 2,000 years ago, who could never have seen their own work. Why? The common theory is they were ritual pathways or astronomical calendars. But the precision is absurd. The lines are perfectly straight, the curves of the animals are flawless. They were created by removing the dark, sun-baked top layer of rock to reveal the light-colored sand beneath. Some of the figures, like the 300-foot pelican, can only be recognized as a coherent image from an altitude of over 1,000 feet. The Nazca had no balloons, no kites, no way to get a bird's-eye view. They were drawing for an audience that could fly. The most chilling figure isn't an animal. It's the one called the astronaut, a humanoid figure with large, round eyes, standing on a hill, seeming to wave. Was this a shaman in a ritual costume? Or was it a depiction of what the Nazca people actually saw? A visitor from the sky, for whom these massive, runway-like lines were meant as a signal? But if the Nazca lines were a message, who was it for? And are we still waiting for a reply? This idea of a message connects to our number 1 mystery, which is not a place or an object, but a prophecy. Mystery number 1, the Hindu Yuga cycle and the coming Yindi. What if our current chaos, the wars, the AI revolution, the feeling that the world is accelerating towards a breaking point, was predicted by a 5,000-year-old calendar, not as the end of the world, but as the end of an age? Ancient Hindu cosmology describes time in vast, repeating cycles called yugas. We are currently in the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, iron, and confusion. The texts describe it with terrifying accuracy, a time when rulers become thieves, virtue vanishes, families are broken, and society is consumed by materialism and hypocrisy. The Kali Yuga is said to last 432,000 years. We are currently in its final, most degraded stage, the dust period. The ancient texts, like the Vishnu Purana, predict humanity will become stunted in size and lifespan, addicted to gratification, and will lose all connection to spiritual truth. Sound familiar? But here's the true shock. The texts don't end with eternal darkness. They predict a cataclysm, a fire, a flood, a cleansing that will wipe the slate clean. And then, a new golden age, the Satya Yuga, will dawn. The cycle will begin again. What if this cataclysm isn't a meteor or a flood? What if it's us? What if our own technology, our AI, our weapons, our social division, is the cleansing fire? The ancient seers didn't have words for a nuclear war or a technological singularity. They could only describe it as fire from the sky. We are building our own end and our own new beginning. So, we are left with a terrifying and yet somehow hopeful question. Are we the architects of the prophesied end? The clock of the ancients is ticking. The signs are all around us. The transition has already begun. This is not the end of the story. In our next video, we're going to dive even deeper into what comes after this transition period. What does the ancient text say about the world that will emerge from our current chaos? The predictions are both terrifying and incredibly hopeful. You won't want to miss it. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. The story is far from over. Until next time, keep questioning. The truth is out there, and it's older than you think.